It's my honor to present the first annual Poudre Pioneer Award. The Poudre Forum Organizing Group, the PRTI, supports establishing the Poudre River as a world-leading example of a working and healthy river. The purpose of the new Poudre Pioneer Award is to annually recognize leadership of organizations and or people in achieving that goal. The challenge of reaching that goal requires leadership and efforts of people in the Poudre Valley that will match that task. That's not an easy task. We in this valley have a long history of doing just that, though, solving difficult water management challenges in ways that are recognized not only nationally, but around the world. The luncheon speakers are going to be talking about this amazing history. And so I will not go into any of that. For the first year of the award, the PRTI has chosen to make the award jointly to two highly deserving individuals, one from the Fort Collins end of the river and one from the Greeley end of the river. This signifies an evolving unity among all communities along the river and exemplifies that all communities have contributed to what this river is today. And they continue to contribute to the water leadership traditions of the Poudre River Valley. At this point, I would like you to help me welcome to the podium our two joint awardees, Peggy Reeves and Hank Brown. Okay. Peggy and Hank were selected for the award for their many years of creative and effective leadership in advancing and dealing with the challenges that are faced in the Poudre River and helping to solve a number of the very difficult problems in the best tradition of those that have come before us. It is possible for those of us in this room today to, quote, stand on their shoulders and see the goal. We have a glimpse of a balanced future that we all seek for the river. By no means is this task complete. May never be, as each generation has its own challenges that it has to deal with on the river. But we have our vision, a goal of a healthy working river, which in many, many ways we have that goal because of the two people on the podium today. Peggy has been involved in local Fort Collins and Colorado politics for many years. She served on the Fort Collins City Council. She served on the Fort Collins Water Board. She served in the Colorado Senate. She has been very active, and all along that way, she's been trying to initiate and maintain ecological restoration efforts. You recall last year we had a film that was shown, and it showed an effort that Peggy and her colleagues in the 1960s put together to define the rubbish and the trash that was along the Poudre River. And she wanted to use that to initiate a local impetus to clean it up and also begin to develop program funding mechanisms that would permit that type of activity to take place. Likewise, Hank has been involved in local, state, and national politics for many years, in Congress, in the Senate. He's been president of, 2 or 3 universities since he left the Senate. He's been very active, and he's used his position and influence to create, one, the wild and scenic designation on the Upper Poudre and the Cache-la-Poudre River National Heritage Area on the Lower Poudre. Many people today, many in this room, work for the goals of these organizations that he created, protecting and enjoying the river's upper natural beauty and celebrating and protecting the Lower Poudre's working and natural heritage in all its many dimensions. There's many dimensions to the Lower Poudre, as we all know. To both of you, our congratulations on receiving the first Poudre Pioneer Award. Now we have a few minutes to hear from each of you, each of our awardees. Peggy, would you like to make a few remarks?
I think I was told I had about a minute. So I guess the first thing I want to do is thank all of you. The river would not be in the shape it's in today without every person that's here in this room. I can still look back at that film and look at the way the river looked with the dead rats and the car bodies and the trash dumped along the river. And the only thing I think about now is I hope we don't love it to death. You know, it's just a wonderful, my vision had always been for the Fort Collins part to, number one, have trails along the river. And we finally got the first trails in the mid-'70s. I was on the city council from '73 for a while, anyway. And so we were able to start on the trail system and look at that trail system now and how it's expanded with offshoots from the Poudre River Trail. So there's so many different ways you can get to the river now, you know, without even having to get in a car. So it's just been a wonderful, wonderful thing to be involved with the river, and I really appreciate what all of you have done and the people who helped me. I was just one person doing some work on the Poudre River. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Peggy. Hank?
Thank you, and thanks to all of you for what you do with the river. You know, this is a dream come true to see the marvelous cooperation that's taken place with Fort Collins and the inspired leadership of Peggy and the wonderful things they've done in Fort Collins and the interest that's developed in Windsor through that and through Greeley. It's really what all of us, I think, had hoped for as we looked at this opportunity. I was born and grew up in Colorado, but when my folks were divorced, my mother moved to California, and I ended up going to high school in a place called Menlo Park. It's about the middle of the peninsula between San Jose and San Francisco. You would have to have been stone dead not to know that that area was going to grow. It's what I think the heart of it is what they call Silicon Valley now. But in the 60s, it was obvious. In the 50s, it was obvious. In the late 40s, it was obvious that area was going to grow dramatically. And eventually, Del Camino, which is a major highway that had been there for hundreds of years, has become almost impassable. Bayshore Highway has become almost impassable with the overload of traffic. When they put in the Bay Area Transit Authority, they had to literally dig up underground rather than having a right-of-way and a space set aside. And the point being that people could see and understand that area was going to grow, and they didn't take the kind of basic, simple steps they needed to take to preserve the quality of that beautiful peninsula area. And now it's wall-to-wall people, and they've lost that opportunity. I say lost it. Being able to do something in a congested area after it's built up is next to impossible. Not impossible, but much more difficult. It was very obvious that northern Colorado is in a similar circumstance, and the whole Front Range of Colorado is the same. So the inspiration was simply to try and set aside open space and parkways and paths and riding paths and means of communication and transportation before the growth occurs. It was what, when I was in the state Senate, inspired Colorado's Conservation Trust Fund bill that we authored, and as with the initiative that added revenue from a variety of sources has been a great help in matching funds, and it was the inspiration behind the Wild and Scenic River, and it was the inspiration about the Water Heritage Area. My only hope is that we'll follow Fort Collins' great example in Weld County throughout. You've already off to a good start, but there's so much more that can be done. That floodplain area can be paths riding paths, bike paths, hiking paths. It can be an area of study of nature. It has a potential of permanently endowing the beauty, the natural beauty of this area in the future. And my hope is that we'll have folks who come along in the future who understand the value of doing this on the Thompson and on the Poudre, not just the Poudre, but going up the Platte River up to Denver. So let's hope what you're up to, what you're doing, spreads. Thank you.
I want to thank all who made the nominations this year to the Poudre Pioneer Award, and I want you to watch for information for next year. Over the years, we anticipate honoring not only policy leaders such as Peggy and Hank, but those who are in the ranks, so to speak, who are striving to make the Poudre River a working river and a healthy river. Thank you very much.